Overdrive today, we find out what's changed in the updated MG Hector, ride Hero MotoCorp's latest 110cc scooter, and pit the Royal Enfield Hunter against the TVS Ronin. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Soini Dutt. Just last month at the Auto Expo, MG Motors India launched the updated Hector. Now the prices start at 20.80 lakh rupees ex-showroom. And the SUV not only comes with new styling updates, but it also gets new features in the form of ADAS. It also comes with new engine and transmission options. Tuin will get you all the details.
Now the MG Hector has always been a competent choice in the mid-size SUV segment. It's got great presence, quite a bit of space inside, and a long list of tech and features. But competition in this segment is now more intense than ever before, which is why you now have this, the MG Hector facelift, the most significant update to this SUV yet. There haven't been any sheet metal changes as is usual for these mid-life updates, but the facelifted Hector does look quite different from the front with this massive diamond pattern grille. It doesn't fully gel with the rest of the design, but if it's presence you want, the Hector now has you well and truly covered. Now the MG Hector's engine lineup has now been streamlined, so you still get that multi-jet diesel with its 170 horsepower, but the petrol engine option is only one now, which is what we're driving today, with 143 PS and 250 Newton meter, and that pairs with a 6-speed manual like the diesel, but with the petrol you also get a CVT now, which replaces the DCT that was there earlier. Now coming to the driving experience, MG has thrown a ton of sound deadening to it. So at speeds like this, say below 2000 RPM, what you would usually do in the city, it's whisper quiet. It really is quite refined, the engine at these speeds. The CVT works quite well and really does the job of a CVT really well. So at these speeds, there's barely any of that rubber band effect, the so-called rubber band effect. The larger wheels have added a slightly firm edge to the ride, but it's well cushioned over small undulations. We would have liked to have seen some of the springiness over speed breakers or bigger bumps reduced though. Plus, over and above this, you get an eco mode which does its usual bits of dulling down throttle response, and to be honest, even in this eco mode, the Hector is perfectly usable. It doesn't seem too hampered by it. The Hector remains a competent handler for an SUV with well-judged steering heft and well-controlled body movements. It remains quite predictable around bends, and there's good control at highway speeds too. Now quite a bit has changed on the inside of the MG Hector facelift, but what you really notice first is this dash design. It's really quite premium with these soft surfaces and these gloss black and silver finished panels, and it really does give it quite a premium touch. But the big highlight which you can't miss at all is this massive new 14-inch touchscreen. Is the largest that you can find in any mainstream car in India. And it's definitely quite an improvement over the similar portrait screen that the pre-facelift Hector had. For example, the menus, they are far more logical, so it's much easier to access vehicle functions like this. For example, like the sunroof and the ambient lighting and so on. Another great touch is this Android Auto integration. It integrates into the full screen, same with Apple CarPlay. It's also wireless, so it's really quite easy to use. Having said that, some of the drawbacks from earlier haven't been addressed. For example, the climate controls are still accessed through the screen, which isn't all that great on the move. Overall, but this 14-inch screen, it really does add to the whole experience. There's a new 7-inch digital instrument cluster too. It's easier to read than the previous analog dials and displays information logically. Now a quick word on the automatic indicators that the Hector has. So it's useful in certain situations, and in certain situations you'll find that it just keeps switching on and off when you don't need it. Say for example on a highway such as this or a large road in the city where you might need to indicate often, it's not exactly working. It does work at intersections and tighter turns, but you also might find that when you're maneuvering the car, it'll keep switching on and off. So yeah, it's a good idea, and it's the first time that we've seen it, so we'll give MG points for that, but maybe it can be fine-tuned further. Among other feature highlights, there is now ambient lighting, wireless charging, more connected tech features and apps. There's also powered front seats, auto headlamps, tilt telescopic steering adjustment, the 8-speaker Infinity audio system, and the panoramic sunroof. Now the back seat was one of the bigger positives of the Hector, so MG hasn't really messed with this space all that much. It's a wide bench, so 3 adults over here will fit quite easily. There's even a 3-pointed seat belt, so the third passenger isn't compromised in terms of safety. As always, there's a massive amount of knee and leg room. As you can see, you can even put your feet under the front seat, so no problem in that sense. But like before, the under-thigh support could have been better. It's not uncomfortable, but you still sit in a slightly knees-up position, which can get slightly tiring over a long distance. You do get reclining seats, which is always a good help. It reclines to a nice angle. It's not very easy to use, but you do recline to quite a comfortable angle. The higher resolution screen has also improved the 360-degree camera's feed, although the graphics could have been less laggy still. Passive safety equipment includes 6 airbags, electronic stability control, hill hold, hill descent control, and all 4 disc brakes. Now, major new addition with the MG Hector facelift is that it now gets level 2 ADAS, same as the Aster. And to be fair, it works in much the same way as in the Aster, so it's a fairly useful system. You can't rely on it completely as with most of these systems, but it does make life easier. So for example, it will find markings easily. For example, just now when we crossed that intersection, it didn't know where the markings were, but it catches on to markings easily enough. And there's a pretty useful graphic which shows you what the car is seeing. So you have small cutouts of the car or the bike that's in front of you, so it knows what's where exactly. Now the Hector also has a traffic jam assist function. It's pretty much the adaptive cruise control, just slightly tuned to work in traffic. So it will spot the car ahead in front of you at speeds over 10 kmph and accelerate or decelerate. Again, like the rest of the system, you can't rely on it entirely. You will need to be quite vigilant. So in that sense, the level 2 ADAS function in the Hector does do its job. It does make driving in traffic or on the highway easier. With this facelift, MG seems to have worked on maximizing the Hector's strengths. So the added presence, the better tech, ADAS, and the improved driving experience all largely work. We would have liked some of the previous niggles to the ride to have been addressed, but the Hector still remains a strong choice if you're looking for a family SUV, especially since prices start from Rs 14.73 lakh and go up to Rs 21.73 lakh.
The highlight of the updated MG Hector, of course, is its inclusion of ADAS features. And now this SUV goes toe-to-toe with the Mahindra XUV700, the Kia Seltos, the Hyundai Creta, the Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara, and of course the Toyota Hyryder. We'll be back very shortly to tell you all about the Hero Zoom. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive.
Yeah.